That said, I did cry about laundry this morning. So
Did you see it as an opportunity?
yes, I did. I think you feel free to talk me through this. It's pretty recent. It's like an hour ago, hour
Yeah.
and a half ago.
Talk to me.
But uh, laundry, as we know, has been a real issue, and I've gotten really flexible with it. And so decided to flexibly do some laundry this morning. But there is like a new wrinkle to it, which is you can't be 6 feet away from one of my neighbors in my building when you are in the laundry room together. So there's like an additional logistical and emotional challenge because the sense of over responsibility and guilt is already what has historically been tied up with laundry for me. And so that was what I cried about. Was there were I was well, actually, probably what I cried about was that I was shameful about feeling a whole new laundry trigger, which I haven't in a while.
Mhm.
Um, and but also guilt that I'm not social distancing enough. It's just hard. I mean, it's hard right now. Like you do have to be responsible for other people, and that's what social distancing is for. So it's a time, I think we talked about this last time, but it is a time where everybody is having to do a little bit of what is kind of running through my head always, but it is an extra challenge where it is there's like another reinforcer in my head of what my OCD is already telling me of how responsible I am for other people, I think. So what the solution right now, I think, as I've decided, probably it's something I should keep doing, but for today, my boyfriend is now responsible for the next round of laundry, and I am taking a breather. And we swapped some chores. So that's what we're doing. I also felt a lot of guilt about having him pick up the laundry that I started, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I support everything you just said. I think everything about what you said was compassionate. I think recognizing that you cried, I would say that the type of crying it sounds like you did was like your eyes are leaking. So
Yeah.
like when you have the feeling of shame, your eyes are in the habit of tearing up, and that's okay. And your awareness that this is probably the feeling of shame. There's some emotional perfectionism here, maybe some anticipatory anxiety or overwhelm around like we don't know how long this is going to last, and in
Yeah.
particular how long I'm going to have this trigger. So it's okay that all those feelings were there. And then just as you were talking through it, you sounded really compassionate. Like, I know that everybody's going through this. It's okay for me to take a breather. It's okay to take a break. It sounds like having the experience of shame didn't become a spiral that would lead to like feeling like you couldn't function at all the rest of the day. So
Yeah.
I think that's what if one of the goals is that the frequency and intensity of stuck moments decreases, then it sounds like actually today really was an opportunity for you.
Yeah, that's that, and it helps too to be able to afterward to it removes the spiraling where it would have blocked me from a whole day, but instead I feel compassionate to myself. I felt shame and I recognized it, and then I'm able to move on.
Really happy to hear it. So, in awareness of our time, do you want to shift over to anything that you learned when you were listening to me and Dr. or Michelle talk about, kind of what she was thinking when she heard your sessions?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you want to start or?
Yeah. So it was really overall, I think that I was really kind of heartened is a weird way. I don't want to, it's not like I'm not happy that anybody else has these kinds of experiences, but it was really helpful, I think, for me to hear that there are commonalities with what I'm feeling with what Michelle and her patients have talked through. This is something we've talked about. You've told me that other people have these experiences. Group therapy is a big part of your practice, but it was just nice to hear. It made me feel better that these kinds of experiences are are shared. That I think was my biggest takeaway.
I think one of the particular struggles with OCD and sometimes anxiety, but sometimes more so OCD, is it feels so idiosyncratic and unique to you that's even one of the things that makes it hard to understand when is this my OCD and when is this me. And so I'm really happy to hear that you had that experience and you can see that, because once you start to see, like the likelihood that I would make up patterns that happen to occur for millions of other people is not like specifically me or my personality or something like that, I think speaks to like, yes, this is a disorder. It's a pattern that we see across people that suffer in the exact same way. And then there's very specific skills that you can learn to relate to it more effectively. So I'm happy to hear that. Do you want to comment any more about that?
Yeah, another part of that stood out to me that I hadn't really thought about is Michelle mentioned working with children and having how she talks children through in the same way and teaching them the same kind of skills, and really blew me away. I can't even imagine how a child kind of navigating these experiences that we've been navigating, that you've been helping me navigate together. Although I guess I did do that, I guess, as a child as well.
Yeah. And how do you feel towards your childhood self when you think about, and even the shame that you've carried over the years, when you think about the fact that you've probably been relating to tasks with perfectionism your whole life?
Yeah. In some ways, I mean, I like who I am most of the time now, which is something that I've really worked on. And a lot of the things that I value about myself and my abilities is, I think, gets back to like why the goal is not to not have anxiety. Like I don't want to mute those pieces of me that I really like. And I do think me as a child, I was building those parts of me as well. Although something that you talked about with Michelle was how ingrained some of the things are, and how it's almost habitual. And so I think, I can't remember if it was you or her, but you were talking about how some people have never even like tried facing those feelings. I definitely think that was me. I really related to that, and I think that a lot of our work over the past year plus has been you saying, how about you try this? How would it feel if you tried this? And I have literally no idea, because I've never tried that before. And that goes all the way back to my childhood too, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it really did feel like an experiment. It was me like tricking you into doing it once so that you'd do it forever. You really had never tried it. So you really didn't have experiential awareness of what it would feel like.
Yep.
Okay. That's really, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for making that point. I do want to reemphasize that in therapy, when you're doing an experiment or an exposure, it really is meant to be an experiment. That the assumption is that you've never tried it another way. And so you just try it out and see what it's like, and then on from there.